Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Voices Interviews. Today, speaking with Gabby Banzon about her current article, A Look into Space, a self-experiential songwriting journal for students and professionals. This can be found at voices.no in our latest edition, volume 21, number 2. Gabrielle Banzon is a music therapist currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia. She received her bachelor's in music therapy with a minor in music technology from Georgia College and State University in 2014, and her master's of arts in music therapy from Texas Women's University in 2017. While she currently works with adults with various disabilities and acquired brain injuries, her other clinical interests include songwriting, music production, mental health, community approaches, and theories philosophies. She currently serves on the International Relations Committee for the AMTA, manages and co-hosts Clinical Populations, the podcast, and presents regionally and nationally. Links to her albums, to clinical populations, and to this article can be found in the descriptions. Please help me welcome Gabby Banzon. Hi, Gabby. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for being here.
I am glad to be here virtually.
Yes, and I'm coming to you from a therapeutic music studio at a university where students can write music, create beats, produce. I thought I would do the interview from here in dedication to you and all the great work that you do.
That is a great place to do an interview.
Yes, and a great place to make music. And every time I'm here, and I think about therapeutic songwriting and beat making, and your work looms large in the world of music therapy, therapeutic songwriting, and technology. And, you created as a thesis for your graduate work a journal for students to use called Space, which we're featuring here today. And, just what was the impetus? What was the spark that you thought about creating this resource for students and professionals in music therapy?
Yeah, so it started as my graduate project. I had the option in grad school of doing a thesis or a project, and I was encouraged to do something that I was passionate about, and I was really passionate about songwriting at the time, still am, for myself, and then also for just clinical purposes as well. And I wanted to not just research songwriting, but create something that could help students and help professionals, because I know songwriting can be difficult and scary at times. So I did a lot of research and then created this book, Space, from all of my research. And originally it was a thesis, so it was like a huge PDF. And a year or two later, it ended up being published by Sarson Publishing.
Yeah, can you describe the type of songwriter you feel you are? Like, what was your influences, and what is your own unique process of songwriting? I think one of the great things that the journal does is it almost helps people discover their process of being a songwriter. What in particular is your process of songwriting? And let's go ahead and give some plugs to some of your albums while we're at it.
You can plug it. I'm not going to plug it myself.
I will plug it.
So I usually start off with writing. I, like a lot of, when I was a teenager, wrote a lot in like a diary or a journal just to process things I was going through. I'm also pretty introverted, even though I don't always seem like it. So I had a lot of content in a lot of these journals that I had lying around in my room. And as I was listening to songs that I really enjoyed, I was really into like Dashboard Confessional and Ben Folds and My Chemical Romance. So all of the really emotional but also poetic kind of writing. And I thought, well, maybe I can do that because I have a lot of stuff in my journals. So I started trying to take everything that was in my journal and turn it into like poetry almost, and verses and choruses, and then add music onto that. But I know that, not everyone would want to start with writing. So there's also, some people start with music, some people start with a loop, and just go from there. So I typically start with lyrics, but yeah, this journal gives you a lot of different ways to start. You can start by journaling or just straight up writing or using loops on GarageBand or whatever DAW that you use. And yeah, there's a lot of ways to start writing.
Yeah, I think about working with a variety of people in healthcare settings and offering songwriting as a possibility of working through health outcomes, and how overwhelming it can be for people because they don't know where to start. And I know in music therapy we have all sorts of fill in the blank to original songwriting to freestyling over pre-composed beats, all different types of ways. What have you experienced in terms of helping both the people you work with, but also students who might feel like, wow, this is too much. There's all sorts of possibilities. I don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to remind people that the songs that are heard on radio or playlists and stuff are very produced, very perfect, because everything's recorded with a click track, and everyone that's worked on it has been trained on like technology and things for years, and it's meant to be palatable, meant to be something for people to consume right away. But the reality is that songwriting isn't the always the product. It's the process and the product. And so it's going to not sound pretty right away. It's not going to be what you hear on the radio because it's a whole process. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be times where it doesn't sound great. And also when we're songwriting, we're songwriting about ourselves or what's going on around us. And like, it's about the world, and the world is imperfect. So you can't expect to have a perfect song written or a perfect songwriting process either. So I usually try to break down songwriting in ways that are comfortable to clients or students. So sometimes I'll have a game, like a songwriting game, to ease people into it. Sometimes we'll start off right off the bat with technology and start with just looping things. So I like to break down songwriting into like sections and little palatable pieces until we're able to kind of take it a step further and try writing like an entire song and recording an entire song.
Yeah, tell us about the uniqueness of space for music therapy. It's a wonderful resource in general for any songwriter, but then there's a uniqueness that is geared towards music therapy, and what makes it unique for use it for music therapy students and professionals.
Mm-hmm. I think it's unique, one, because it's blank pages. It's not a whole book or a textbook trying to tell you what to do. It gives you space for you to explore and write, but it also gives you some structure. So it has chord progressions, it has song forms, it has examples of those chord progressions and song forms, and it takes you through different like reflective logs, going from personal reflections to reflections on relationships to reflections on your life stages, and also towards the end goes to more clinical applications. And it also, while it shifts through all of these different categories and themes, it also kind of gives you more freedom with the song structures and also chord progressions, and also the chord progressions get a little harder as you go as well.
Yeah. What what do you feel like? How can this be used in music therapy supervision or education? What do you how do you envision it being used so that people know this resource is for me?
Mhm. I envision it as a supplement to what you're already learning. Like you're already learning music theory in your classes, you're already listening to songs and learning how to play songs in your classes as well. So this is just kind of reframing all of that and letting you use everything that you're learning in a more creative way. And it also is just, I mean, it's really approachable. It's really tiny, like it's not like this big, huge workbook that you have to work through. Like it's a journal, it's meant for you to use on your own time and in your own way. And I think for educators and supervisors, it can be a good exercise to use with students for self-awareness as well. And like you don't have to use the whole journal. You can take like, one of the themes or one of the journal logs and say, okay, here, let's try this thing.
Yeah, I could also see it being used in research as a way of reflexivity in the research process, both as an arts-based reflexivity in a variety of interpretivist methods you might use. So it provides a good resource for music therapists and multiple avenues of self-exploration. And I can't think of many other resources that are just dedicated to our musical self-exploration and music therapy at this level. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Where can we find it?
You can find it at sarsonpublishing.com if you want it in bulk or to buy it directly from the publisher. And then you can also find it on Amazon.
And everybody, you'll be able to see those links in the YouTube description. So go ahead and click on it and grab yourself a copy. And also, please make sure you check out Gabby's latest EP called Dragons, which you can find in iTunes, Spotify, Tidal.
I don't know. Does iTunes exist anymore? It's Apple Music, isn't it?
Apple Music.
I think it's on Tidal. I think Google Play. Amazon Music. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you'd like to tell us about the journal that you feel like we haven't talked about yet?
Not really. I feel like we covered most of it. I mean, it's a very small thing, and there's a lot of blank pages. So we've covered what it is and how to use it. So, yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing where it takes us and takes you. And thank you for providing us with the space. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. We'll be back next time for another Voices interviews with Nikki Hare, talking about her recent research article, Thinking Through Improvisation, how arts-based reflexivity can offer new knowing about music therapists' experience of humor in music therapy. We will see you then.